Yo, 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 yo. Hey, what's up, you guys? We're gonna make a Wesley bag today. It's a new bag. I've been working on this pattern forever, and I finally got it to a place where I'm really happy with it. And I've got a lot of them to make, but I'm gonna make this one on camera. It's 3 o'clock. I'm gonna start on this bag today. I'll probably get through half of it, and tomorrow I'll pick it up again. So let's do this. So I'm gonna make this one out of about a 4 to 5 ounce oil tan hide. I found a batch of these hides at a local Western tack shop here in Ogden. It's called Smith & Edwards. So this is the Wesley bag. It's just a nice compact shoulder bag. It'll fit a 13-inch MacBook or any laptop. It's got kind of a postal bag configuration back here. I'm going to change a couple things. The only thing different I'm going to do is move these D-rings to the side over here. I'm also going to make the lid come in just a little bit smaller over here because it'll make the stitching a little bit easier and it won't get in the way of the zipper as much. So anyway, a couple changes there, but this is the bag we're gonna do. It's one of the favorite bags I've ever made. So we started rolling all the edges and double stitching in the really important places. On the bottom, I started breaking up the gusset with double stitch and nice rolled edges, and it just makes this bottom gusset really strong and durable. It gives it a little bit more structure as well. Also, if you're familiar with the handcrafted leather bag world, you know that a lot of times people will just add regular belt buckles here, and it makes it really frustrating to get into and not very usable. So I started adding these tuck locks. So it makes it really easy to get into the bag. And there's also a zipper up here, so that's going to keep the rain from getting into the bag. Also make it pretty secure so things don't just come flying out of the corners, but you can leave that open if you need to keep it a little more accessible. So it's a great bag, and I'm really excited to make a lot of these. Today I'm going to make it in this kind of saddle tan looking oil tan hide. It's about 4 to 5 ounces, so I'll have to skive some of the edges. But first I'm going to take my pattern, lay it out over the hide, and start cutting this out. I love it when I get to be particular about where I cut things out. If you have somebody clicking it out for you, or you know, a lot of our wallets are laser cut, I don't have much of a choice, but I love to avoid scars in the leather like this. So when I'm cutting it out by hand, I get to decide exactly where I put these pieces so I get really nice yield. Oh, and before I start cutting out my pattern pieces, I'm gonna go ahead and get a nice straight edge on my hide first so that I can get all my straps cut out, because sometimes you'll cut all your pattern pieces out and then realize you don't have a long enough stretch of leather to get I think the longest strap I need is about 47 inches for the longer part of the shoulder strap. So I need 2 straps for the front here, 2 separate pieces for my shoulder pad, the top handle, and every single piece has to be doubled. So if I don't have the option to cut out from a thicker hide, like a 9 to 10 ounce hide, then I like to double up this 4 to 5 ounce leather just to make it real strong. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a straight edge on this hide. I need to use a big long ruler. I'm gonna make a straight edge, then use my strap cutter to get some 1-inch straps out. Okay, I've got 5 straps cut here. They're all around 60 inches in length. I measured, that's enough to get all the straps I need on the bag, even doubled up. So now I'm gonna use this main part of the hide. I'm gonna start cutting out all the big pieces first, and then I'll work down to the little ones. So when I'm cutting patterns, I like to use my trusty scratch awl. I like to scratch in my shape first. I'll actually go through and trace out all the shapes first, get it fitting on the hide the way I want it, and then I'll come back with my razor. When I'm just cutting big straight edge pieces, I usually use just a utility knife like this, but then once I start getting into my smaller intricate cuts, especially like when I'm cutting wallets and stuff, that's when I use my Tina blade. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay out my pattern throughout this hide. If I run out of room on this side, I have some over here that I can use, but I'm actually gonna take this piece to a local tack shop just down the street. It's just a couple minutes down the street, but he has a big clicker press and I have some dies made, and I'm gonna have him cut out my side pieces. So that shape right there that holds on my D-rings, I could just cut it out by hand, but I think it looks really professional when I use my dies and get it cut out I'm about to lose my light, but I'm just gonna keep cutting. I'm about to wrap it up for the night though, because Whit's on our way down here. We've got some errands to make. We're gonna go get some new phones. Get a new iPhone 8 for each of us, because our phones are losing it. Yeah, so I'll probably finish cutting this out tomorrow, and I'll pick the video back up where I left off. So yesterday I documented just a little bit my trip over to Reed's Canvas and Leather, so he could click out those little pieces for me. And I did it on my phone, and then last night, Whit and I left, we went to the mall and got new iPhone 8s. And so all the footage that I filmed yesterday for this disappeared. I thought that, I knew that I had backed up my phone, and I guess I hadn't backed up like the last few hours, so that's a bummer. So here's where we're leaving off today. So last night I hadn't quite finished cutting every piece. It's all cut now, and now I'm gonna take every single piece here that needs it and run it through my bell skiver, which is this beauty right here. This is an electric bell skiver by Conso. And basically what I do is run it through here. So it's gonna shave off about 1/2 inch into this piece and shave it down to be thinner leather, down to about 2 ounces, maybe even a little bit less. And that way I can roll the edges and get a nice stitch along the top. Gives it a little bit of structure on the pockets and around the edges. And then also it makes it easier to sew when I'm going around the corners. So that's what the bell skiver does. You can see a pretty significant difference in the thickness of the leather. It trims it down real nice and skinny. Okay, so I drew a couple reference lines on my pattern here. This is on the lid. This is the kind of stuff that gets really difficult to get right. I have to know exactly where to put my lash tabs before I stitch the two pieces of this lid together. So I'm trying to figure out where each strap is gonna lay. These are the top, the front straps, and then I have a top handle that comes right here. So as long as everything's in the right place, got to do a lot of measuring. Hopefully this thing will help us on future bags. So now we've got reference points where to put each strap and everything, as well as how far down the lid goes in comparison to the main body of the bag. I think I've got everything right where I want it now. I'm going to go ahead and get these lash tabs stitched onto my lid, and then I'm going to sew the two lid pieces together. We'll go from there. The first stage stitches I'm going to make will be my two lash tabs. I'll stitch my shoulder pad together. I'll have to stitch the top part of my interior laptop divider, the top part of my pocket here, and then I'll stitch the pocket onto that. And then basically just all my pieces that need to be folded over and have a nice rolled edge. I'm going to stitch all of that first, get it together, and then I'm going to move on to my zipper. Once I fold over the edge on these two zipper gussets, I'll cut my zipper, get it all ready, get it in there, stitched, and move on to the next step. Lunch break. Okay, since I got my straps all done, they're all taken care of. I glued them right onto the lid where they need to be. And then I'm going to put this piece of trim right over the top of it. I just barely skied it down. I don't want it to get too bulky because there's a lot of layers right here gathering together, and I need this piece to kind of go in and out of these bumps. So I'm going to stitch this piece only on the top and the bottom, then I'm going to put my rivets in right here and right here because this handle will take a lot of pressure, a lot of weight. So I made the mistake of trying to make this video right in between all of the holiday festivities. And I've had a really hard time finishing because I'm only getting to work on it like a couple hours at a time. And as I film, it makes it take a little bit longer. So I'm here day after New Year's. Happy 2018. But I only have a couple hours today because we have some more festivities. We're going to do some family things. This will probably be the last of it. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm just going to hit it hard, be back at work. But I really want to see if I can finish this bag, get it out of the way, so I can start filling orders tomorrow. So here's where I'm at. I marked where my tuck locks go, the tuck lock closures, and I made some slits and poked it right through. Now I'm going to take these little washers and slide them over. I may have to cut some pieces of leather to put in there to give it some depth because this leather's pretty thin, and I think these were meant for a little bit thicker leather. I'm gonna make some little cutouts right here, and it doesn't matter too much how it looks because that's gonna look ugly, but that's what this piece is for. Cut out another piece that will be sewn right over the top so you won't even see those buckles at all. And then I can move on to my gusset, get that whole thing sewn up, and start sewing the main part of the bag. Alright, I'm back for what is hopefully my last day on this bag. I swear, guys, it doesn't normally take me this long, but I've had such a weird... It's just been a really weird week with the holidays and everything, and yesterday I was only here for a couple hours. Really, about an hour and a half, so I didn't get much done on it. All I have is one more stitch to make on my gusset, and then I'm going to make my main stitches around the outside of the bag, and then I gotta turn it around, and we should be done. I'll have to assemble my shoulder strap together. That's usually the very last thing I do, but we're almost there. This is it, we're in the home stretch. Let's finish this bad boy. So like I said, I got one more stitch to do right here on my gusset, and then I'll be stitching the gusset to my outside body panels there. And I have it, I'll do it to both sides. And then I'm going to turn it inside out and we'll be good to go. Okay, so I've got one side stitched all around the body. It gets really tough in those corners, but that's why this seems a little excessive. I have to glue it really well and use all these binder clips to really clamp it down, and then as I sew, I just remove the clips. But this side's ready to go now, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch it.
You want me to?
You want to stitch it? You do? We got Indy sweeping up down here, because... Someone's been making a mess with their Cheerios. Hey! Hi, bud. Alright, so that's it. I just wrapped up this bag. So a couple things I kind of skimmed over. I was kind of in a hurry and forgot to film, but for these buckles right here, all I had to do was wrap a piece of leather around the buckle and insert it into my tuck lock here with some screws in the back. And those just slide really nicely into there. These buckles are really solid and heavy duty, so those are gonna last for a long time. All right, so this bag is done. The only thing left to do would be to finish my shoulder strap, which I can't do because I just realized I ran out of basically this piece right here. I was thinking about cutting it off this strap, but I don't know if I want to ruin the strap. So I might just wait till we have some more. I've got more coming in the mail, and I'll add it to this strap, throw my shoulder pad onto it, and that's ready to go. So just to be clear, this was not a how-to video. In case some of you were like, oh, I missed some of the steps, you didn't show everything. Well, it really wasn't meant to be a how-to. It would have to be a very detailed step-by-step on every single step of the way if it were that. This was just to show you a behind-the-scenes process of how it's made, what goes into it, and I still skipped a lot of the work that goes into this. I hope you enjoyed the process of the making of this bag, and I'm excited to make a lot more of these. I'm going to send a couple of these samples out to some of our US factories that I've been in touch with, and I think we're going to start producing these. Just in the past, based on the sales from our wallets and some of our other bags, I'm not going to be able to keep up. And so instead of hiring more people and buying more equipment, I'm going to try outsourcing it and seeing if we can get some help, but we'll always keep it here in the US. Help out some smaller factories over in the East that I've been talking to, some really cool people who are really good at what they do. They would make beautiful work with these bags. So that's kind of what's in the plans for now. I'm not sure if that's where we're gonna go with it, but really excited to get this bag on our website and available to you. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Thanks for watching.